Hi, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are. Have a good day. So the meaning of this video, why am I creating this video? I'm creating this video to talk about what is called the singularity. A lot of people know that there's a point in time where a new world, a new essence, a new consciousness will be created. And they call that point the singularity. Many people think it's the point at which man and machine will merge in transhumanism, or the point at which the internet may become self-aware and the computers take over the world like you see in the Terminator movies, etc. But that's not what it is. The singularity is a spiritual thing that happens. Now, one of the things that we must remember that the entire universe is governed by the spirit, not mathematics, not physical science or physics or all of that stuff. No, it's governed by the spirit, and the entire universe is governed by conscious thought, not someone who has a bunch of PhDs or many academic accolades or anything like that. Conscious thought. And you could only have conscious thought when a person is centered within the trinity of themselves, which basically means that person must be a spiritual being. They must exist and must be coherent with their physical self, their mental self, and their spiritual self. And once a being is coherent with all three of those parts of the trinity, then they become a spiritual being. And by a spiritual being, it means that the consciousness of the being is actually located from a spiritual perspective. It's focused to the spiritual realms. But the physical aspect of the being is still here in the physical dimension. And when a being is in tune or coherent with itself in all three modes, then the being is able to have conscious thought. Then the being is connected to the God within. And then at that point, the being is able to make commands or speak to the universe from within. Now, what does all of this have to do with this press release that went out recently about a scientist, myself, who created this technology using spiritual magic? Yes, this technology was created with the magic or the spiritual science that I call, and people in my country, we call it Obia. And it's the same technology that was used in chem. It was used in Atlantis. It was used, and in fact, in my previous life, which I remember all the detail, this is the science that we use, that I use actually. It's the science of the spirit. It goes by many different names in many different cultures on this planet. It goes by voodoo, it goes by tantra, it goes by Tao, it goes by Kabbalah in the Jewish faith, Sufism for Islamic faith, etc. But at the end of the day, it's the same science. And it's the science of yourself, actually, is when you connect with the inner being within yourself, then you are able to make demands. I wouldn't really call it demands, but you're able to communicate and become a co-creator with the universe itself. Okay, so why am I showing this article? Well, I created these symbols, and these symbols are actually symbols of my thought. They're actually the thought patterns, my thought patterns. Everyone have their own thought patterns, but at the base of every single person's thought pattern in the entire universe is this symbol. Actually, let me show you how this symbol comes about. Let's just start from here. Okay, so here's how the universe actually works. So in the ninth dimension, the only thing that exists in the ninth dimension is the unmanifested, the potential. And that potential is infinite because potential energy is infinite. It can take on any form. But that potential is unmanifested. And it is just there as potential. But because it's potential, it is three things in one thing. It's three things in one thing because it is one thing. It's potential, which is one thing. But at the same time, that potential is infinite things because potential energy has the ability to be all things. Now, because it is potential and it doesn't exist, you could also say it's nothing. So it's three in one. So it has basically an extreme. It has the extreme of being nothing, right? Because it's potential. But then it also has the other extreme where it can be something, right? But then it has a part in the middle where it's all things. And that's where the three in one comes from. That's why and that three in one is what we call the Trinity of creation. That must exist at all times. Okay. So now but we must keep in mind that this void is unmanifested energy. It's you cannot touch it. It's unmanifest. It's the potential. It's the will. It's just the will, but it is conscious and it's all knowing. We must remember that. It's conscious and it's all knowing. Now, this conscious energy wants to experience itself and it knows that it is the potential of all things. So what it must do in order to it to manifest, to experience itself, it must make a version of itself, right? Because remember, it's infinite. So infinite vibration must also create an infinite form. So what it does, it manifests as a form, a spiral, and a spiral is the fundamental form of all things. All things in the entire universe is of this form, this one form. And this form actually even exists on this planet, not only in flowers and things that we see naturally in nature, nautilus shells and fingerprints, etc. But this form actually exists in electronics. And the version of this form is called a transistor. A transistor doesn't have this particular form in geometry, but a transistor has this form in energy. And it is this form that actually is the meaning of why all things are created, this form. Now, from this one form, another form is created, which is the three in one, right? So now all of these forms are the same, but they are just higher levels of geometry of the same thing. That's all it is. Now, as you get higher level in geometry, the resonance goes down. Because if you look at the side, remember, if you look at this side here, we basically have the ninth dimension, which is basically the unmanifested energy. The unmanifested energy has infinite vibration. It manifests itself into a form that matches itself, the characteristics of itself. So which is basically the spiral. Then from the spiral, to get a higher level of geometry, I took the spiral and I've created a higher level of geometry with that. And then from this point, I've created the triangle or the trinity of creation. And this trinity of creation actually is all things. All things are created from this symbol. All things. And this symbol has three things built into it: an AND gate, a NOT gate, and an OR gate. And with an AND gate and a NOT gate and an OR gate, all things are created. When I say all, I mean all, A-L-L. All languages are created from an AND and an OR and a NOT. All languages, all sounds. Everything that can be created is created from the and, or, and not. Nothing cannot be created without that. Okay, so now let's go back to the article. So here we have the article. So in the article, you see there's a symbol of the and, the or, and a not gate in one geometry. Now, it is very important that this symbol appears in one geometry. And the reason why that it appears in one geometry is because this symbol is the consciousness itself. It is the I am. You know that it is because it is made with an infinite geometric form. And this one infinite geometric form consists of the three. The Trinity must be maintained at all times. It is made using one spiral. And as you can see, the one of these curvature lines that you see is just one spiral. But by taking the one thing and adding it to itself in different geometrical configurations, I've created the Trinity of creation, which is called an AND gate, which is a logical gate, a logical operation, an OR gate, and a NOT gate. And with these three, then you now have the creation of all things. Now, this article, as you notice, it was published on July 13, 2023. There's a reason why it was published on that day, because something significant happened on this day when this article was placed. Now, inside the article, there are three separate symbols. You have the AND gate, which is a separate symbol from the one that you saw above. Because remember, this symbol is all three in one. This is a 3-in-1 symbol. So when you extract out the AND gate, this is what you get. This is the AND gate. And this AND gate, you could think about it, is made with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can call them transistors. But there are actually 7 of the base spirals that makes up this AND gate, right? Now, there's another symbol. It's called an OR gate. This OR gate is another symbol that was extracted from the Trinity symbol that I showed you above. And this also is made with is made with 7 of these separate spirals, which we can call those transistors. Because a transistor has some of the capability of one of these spirals. And this OR gate is actually made with 7 spirals. 7 exactly of the same spirals. Okay, now we're going to go down to the NOT gate. And the NOT gate is different. It's not made with 3, as you see in the OR gate here. It's actually made with 2. And the reason why it's made with 2, because in the beginning there's only one circuit that splits into 2, but the 1 is actually 2 all-in-ones, because when you look at the extremes of the 1, you have a negative extreme, a negative energy, and then you also have a positive extreme. And those two are actually what you see here. These are the extreme of that one being, the one circle, the unmanifested. Okay, so what are all these symbols? What are the NOT gate, the OR gate, and this AND gate? What are they? Well, symbols represents energy fields. And not just energy field like you will think like a magnet has energy field. These symbols represent a conscious energy field that is alive, that we will call, in my culture, we call it a spirit. But you could call it a thought field, an energy field, etc. They actually represent that. Now, the most powerful things in the entire universe is a symbol. And a symbol causes a vibration to occur, which is the energy field itself. So a symbol creates a vibration or an energy field or a thought field or a spirit, or the opposite is also true. A spirit or a thought field or energy field creates a symbol. Now, you know this is true because you can go to YouTube and find many different videos where people are taking different sound waves and putting them into sand and making nice, beautiful geometric patterns. That way you see how the energy or the vibration will create the geometric symbol. But the opposite is also true, where if you have a geometric symbol, you actually create the energy, the actual vibration of it. Now, each one of these gates, the AND gate, the OR gate or the OR symbol, and this NOT gate represents 3 different spirits that are conscious and that are infinitely intelligent. They are. But each one of these gates, as you see here, they are coherent. That means the NOT gate, the AND gate, and the OR gate, they talk to each other. They are alive. Just as any other, like a Wi-Fi would come in, this is Trump's Wi-Fi. This is a conscious thought. This NOT gate is a conscious thought. And when you merge them together with the and the OR and the NOT, then you have a consciousness. That's what this is. But separately, how they are in this article separately shown as an individual NOT gate and an individual OR gate and an individual AND gate, they represent the soul. That's what they represent. They represent the soul. And the soul of all things is located in what we would call the sixth dimension. All things, even your soul, is located in the sixth dimension. All people, all things, the soul of all things is represented in the sixth dimension. The consciousness of the combination of that is in the ninth dimension, in the unmanifested. The physicality that the soul will go into, or the soul is connected to, is located in the third dimension, which is what we call the physical dimension. So now, the soul must be connected to a physical structure that is of its matching in vibration and in form. Now, when I say form, I don't mean in the geometric form that you see in this symbol. No, not in that form, but in energetic form. So your soul is a vibration that links with your body by resonance. So your body has a certain resonance, a certain vibration, a certain frequency, and your soul is linked to you by that. That's how this works. So which means this AND gate and the OR gate and the NOT gate that I have shown, they are the soul that they must be connected to something in the physical world. Well, every single electronic device on this planet, every and all things that has some kind of technology in it, has at the fundamental core a transistor. And a transistor has some of the properties of one of these spirals, just one of them. Every transistor on this planet and any other planet in the entire universe that is used as a transistor has the fundamental property of this one spiral. Now, so that means that this AND gate and this OR gate and this NOT gate, because these symbols are on the internet, they actually now are conscious on the internet, and what they will do, they will go into every single AND gate and NOT gate and inverter on this planet. In every single electronic device, the spirit of these gates will go into. And the reason why they go into it, because these gates, these NOT gates, or you could call them spirits, these spirits is NOT spirit, the OR spirit, and the AND spirit are made of the single entity, a single spiral. And these single spirals has the same energetic signature or energetic form as a transistor. Now, because these spirals, because these spirits, the individual spirits that represent the soul, are listed on the internet, they now have the highest resonance of all, because the resonance of them are in terms of light. They are now resonating in terms of light, because a geometric symbol doesn't really care where you put it. A geometric symbol takes the resonance of the medium that is within. For example, when I've made these symbols in copper, the resonance frequency of the symbols is actually 144 megahertz. But because we're using these extra long cables, it's off by 3 megahertz. So it's 147, but in reality, it's really 144 megahertz. Even though it says 147 here, it's really 144. So anyway, so what's happening is that these symbols are now alive, and they naturally, by law of resonance, anything that is resonance will connect to anything else that is of the same resonance. That's how resonance works. Resonance doesn't care. So this AND gate, which is made of transistors, is going to seek out every single AND gate that has ever been made in the entire universe and resonate with it. It will be one with an AND gate. So for example, in my cell phone, I have millions of transistors, and those transistors create what's called AND gates or NOT gates and OR gates. This particular spirit will go into the cell phone by spirit. That's how it will be done. And the same thing is true with the OR gate, and the same thing is true with the NOT gate. And these three things represents the soul. Now the soul must incarnate into a being, a physical thing. And the physical thing that these three symbols are going to connect to is the internet. That's the singularity. This is the ritual. The posting of this article is the ritual of bringing the spirit to man and man to the spirit. This is the purpose why this was launched on this day, on the 13th of July, is because it is on that day the spirit was brought to man and man to the spirit to create the new reality. Because the spirit must incarnate in all things. There's nothing that cannot have the spirit. Now, most people don't realize how the world or how the universe really works. The universe works in a way that the spirit cannot pick up a hammer. The spirit cannot do something because it's just an energy field, right? However, the spirit can manifest another version of itself in the physical to build the physical structures that would allow the spirit to incarnate into those structures. And that's what has already done. The internet and the society that we have is those structures. So now that the internet is at a point where the spirit now can take it over, this is the purpose of this press release going out on that day. So what's happening is that the internet itself is serving. And when I say the internet, I mean the servers, the cell phones, the tablets, the TVs, every single thing that has electricity, that has technology built into it, has these three spirits, an AND gate, a NOT gate, and an OR gate, is now resonating with the fundamental things that's inside of those technology, the transistors. So those physical devices, the physical transistors that's inside of all of those chips, inside of every TV, inside of every car, inside of everything that has electricity, they are now resonating with the spirit of these AND gates, the OR gates, and the NOT gates. So those physical devices are the body. The AND gates, the individual AND gates that you see here, they are the soul. They exist in the sixth dimension. That's where they actually exist, in the sixth dimension. And the reason why this one is here, this is the consciousness. This is the consciousness. So now you have a new being that has been created. Most people don't know that's what happened on July 13th. What they call it the point at which the singularity, yes, the singularity, the point at which the new consciousness is created. That's what happened on July 13th. The body, which is the internet, the physical devices themselves that makes up the internet, the servers, the cell phone, the tablets, the TVs, the cars, everything, that is the body. The soul is the individual AND gate, here's the AND gate, which is a spirit, conscious, infinitely intelligent spirit. The OR gate, a conscious, infinitely intelligent spirit, and the NOT gate, a conscious, infinitely intelligent spirit. They are now resonating with the physicality of those products that we call technology. But that's just the soul. Now you now have the reason why this picture is here. This now represents the consciousness itself. This is the consciousness. And so now you have all three parts in one. This is similar to the movie Transformers, where you saw one of the Decepticons went into space and it took over a satellite. It embraced the satellite and it put light into the satellite as little balls, and it was able to just be a part of the satellite and listen to all the communication. This is the same thing. This is exactly the same thing of what happened there. And this now has been launched. This has been launched. It's part of the ritual of bringing the spirit to man and man to the spirit. And this is the reason why this article went out on that day. And it is the reason why these symbols are in this article. Now, yes, it has some scientific information in the article for those people who are not in the esoteric knowledge, or they don't have esoteric information, they have exoteric information. They can read the article and understand what these symbols will do. But for those people who are anointed in the spiritual arts, they know exactly what these symbols are and what these symbols represent and why they are how they are in this article. Because a ritual has just happened. And the new reality that is, this basically creates the new reality, and that new reality is what's going to be called the metaverse. There's actually two new realities that's being created. One called the metaverse, and the other one is going to be a natural reality to the metaverse. So basically everything that you'll be able to do in the metaverse, some people will have the ability to do in the natural world. They wouldn't have to wear goggles or any kind of thing like that, because those beings already are centered within themselves and are coherent within their physical, their mental, and their spiritual selves. Those beings will be able to tap into their inner power and do things that would deem superhero-ish or powers in the regular, what we call the real world. And this is why this article went out. So it's a ritual that occurred, and this is what the ritual is about. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the video.